Hey friends, welcome to our Midweek Moment. Pastor Nicole here. This week we continued on in our sermon series Dreamer, the story of Joseph, where we have been week by week taking a look at Joseph in the Old Testament story. This week we found Joseph in a precarious situation where he had his integrity tested. Now, what I love about this part of the story is that Joseph shows us the importance of keeping our integrity, even in moments of temptation, even when we know if we choose the path of integrity, there might be fallout later. Joseph was kind of in a no-win situation. I think he would have been in trouble no matter what he chose. But I was thinking about all the stories in the Bible where we see people have their integrity tested. There are a lot of people that go through that have their integrity tested in a major way. Some of them fail and some of them don't. When we look at Joseph, we see that he is a man of deep-seated integrity. This is going to play out in the rest of his story as well as we move through it over the next few weeks. We're going to see that being a man of integrity plays out for him. It's going to be a good thing in the end. But I couldn't help but think of all those people in the Bible that failed the test of integrity, that didn't do what God wanted them to do, that gave into temptation, that chose the path that they should not have gone down. And, when we think about those people, I think it's easy for us to be like, well, I wouldn't choose that. I wouldn't have done that. And honestly, we don't know what we would do if we were placed in their circumstances. But here's the thing. I think all of us want to be people of integrity, right? We want to be people like Joseph that do the right thing, that stand up for the right things, that when we're tempted, we don't fall into temptation, but instead we stand up and do what God wants us to do, make the right choices. We want to be people of integrity. But unfortunately, we all give in to temptations, various kinds of temptations to different degrees, but we all give in to temptation from time to time. Our integrity is tested and we fail. But here's where there's hope. When we look at some people in the Bible that have failed spectacularly, we see that God doesn't abandon them just because they make the wrong choice. God doesn't forsake them. God doesn't leave them. God continues to remain faithful to them, even if they made a bad choice or 2 or 12. One of the people I think about in particular is King David, who made a spectacular blunder, followed by another blunder to cover up his mistake. And it just gets worse and worse, right? His story is, his integrity was tested. He failed big time. But you know what? David is still remembered as being a man after God's own heart. And so even though he made some mistakes, there was grace, there was forgiveness, and God stayed with David. And to this day, we know that David wasn't the greatest at making some decisions. Sometimes he didn't always do what God wanted him to do, but we remember him as somebody who loved God deeply, who followed God's lead, and who led the country of Israel, became the king, and served Israel well. So all that to say, if you find yourself in a place where you've had your integrity tested and you failed, you're in good company. There is forgiveness, there is grace, and there's opportunity to have integrity the next time a temptation comes along. So no matter where you find yourself today, whether you have had your integrity tested and you failed, or whether you had your integrity tested and you passed with flying colors, God is still faithful to you. That's what we learn in Joseph's story, that God is still faithful to Joseph no matter what. So no matter what you're going through this week, know that God is with you. When you find yourself having your integrity tested, temptation coming your way, lean into God, because God won't steer you in the wrong direction. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye.